It was a beautiful day when the Swiki family moved into their new home. The house was large, with a spacious yard and a beautiful garden. The family never expected that their new home would be the source of their greatest fears. As they were unpacking, they noticed that the house had a strange atmosphere. It was as if the house was alive, and the family felt as if they were being watched. They tried to ignore the feeling, but it was impossible. They couldn't shake the feeling that something was off about the house. The first night in their new home was unsettling. The Sawikis heard strange noises coming from the walls and floors, and their dog barked at nothing. They reasoned that it was just a house settling and went back to bed, but they couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. The next day, the family went about their normal routine, but things began to get worse. The lights flickered, and they could hear whispers in the walls. The children began to complain that they were being watched, and the family dog refused to enter certain rooms in the house. One night, the family went to bed early, but they were woken up by the sound of footsteps coming from the hallway. They assumed it was one of the children, but when they went to check, they found that all the doors were locked from the inside. They couldn't explain what was happening, but they knew that something was wrong. As the days went by, the family began to experience more and more strange occurrences. They would hear voices in the middle of the night, and objects would move on their own. They began to feel like they were losing their minds. One day, while the parents were out, the children were playing in the yard when they saw a figure in the window of the house. The figure was dark and shadowy, and it seemed to be staring at them. The children ran inside to get their parents, but when they went back outside, the figure was gone, and they realized that their parents weren't home. The family knew that they had to do something, so they called in a paranormal investigator. The investigator found out that the house was built on top of an old graveyard, and that the spirits of the dead were restless. The family was shocked and terrified by this revelation. They knew that they had to do something to get rid of the spirits. The investigator suggested that they perform a cleansing ritual. The family was hesitant, but they had no other choice. They gathered together and performed the ritual, hoping that it would be banished. As the family finished the ritual, they felt a sense of relief. They thought that they had finally gotten rid of the spirits that had been haunting their home. But as they began to clean up, they heard a loud banging noise coming from the basement. They casually made their way down the stairs, and what they saw made their blood run cold. The walls of the basement were covered in strange symbols, and in the center of the room was a large pentagram. The family realized with horror that the ritual they had just performed had actually awoken something dark and powerful, and now they were trapped. Suddenly, the temperature in the room dropped, and the family could see their breath as they frantically searched for a way out. But it was too late. The spirits of the dead had been replaced by something far more sinister. The family was never, ever seen again. The house remained empty for years, with no one daring to enter. But on certain nights, locals reported strange noises coming from the house, as if something was still trapped inside. Some say that the Swiki's family is still in there, trapped in a never-ending nightmare. Others believe that something far more sinister now inhabits the house, waiting for its next victim to move in. The house was eventually demolished, and the land was left barren. But to this day, people still avoid that area, afraid of what might be lurking in the shadows. The Swiki's family's disappearance remains one of the greatest unsolved mysteries of the town. A chilling reminder of the dangers that can lurk in the most innocent of places.